My name is Melissa Unzueta, 31 years old, and on October 18th, 2025, my parents boycotted my wedding, the wedding I had planned for months with 200 guests, simply because I refused to change the date to accommodate my sister's Hawaii vacation. They didn't even show up. Two seats in the front row remained empty. Everyone saw it. Everyone understood. Before that, my father had said to me plainly, "If you don't change the wedding date, don't expect us to be there. We're going to teach you a lesson." And they kept their word. The whispers started before the ceremony even began. People tried to act normal, but their absence was a void too large to ignore. They had no idea about my husband, James. They didn't know what he had discovered. And they definitely didn't know that at 8:23 p.m. that night, he would stand up at our reception and tell everyone in that room one thing. One thing I'm certain my parents never wanted anyone to know. That was the moment everything flipped. And when I say everything, I mean their reputation, their business, and their control over my life. This is what happened. It started like any good story, with hope. December 17th, 2023. James proposed to me at Zilker Park in Austin. It was simple, perfect. A blanket under the oak trees, string lights he'd hung himself, and a ring his grandmother had worn for 60 years. When I said yes, I felt like the luckiest woman alive. The next morning, I called my parents. My mother cried. Happy tears, I thought. My father's voice was warm, almost proud. "Melissa," he said, "we're so happy for you. We'll help however we can." I should have recorded that call. I should have saved it. But I didn't know I'd need proof of kindness yet. A week later, my mother brought it up over lunch at their house in Westlake Hills. The house I grew up in, all marble countertops and vaulted ceilings, the kind of home that screams success. My father, Lawrence, owns 3 car dealerships across Austin: Toyota, Honda, the works. They're not billionaires, but they're comfortable, very comfortable. Net worth somewhere around 4.5 million. My mother, Diane, set down her wine glass and smiled at me. "Melissa, honey, your grandparents left something for this. For your wedding." I blinked. "What do you mean?" "The trust fund," she said, like it was obvious. When Grandma and Grandpa passed in 2019, they set aside money specifically for this. $120,000. For their first grandchild to get married. My throat tightened. That's me." "Yes, sweetheart. That's you." I felt tears sting my eyes. My grandparents had been gone for almost 5 years. But in that moment, I felt them. Felt their love reaching forward through time. They'd wanted this for me. They'd planned for it. "We'll make sure you have a beautiful wedding," my father added from across the table. He was scrolling through his phone, barely looking up, but his tone was definite. "You're the first grandchild to marry. That money is yours." I hugged my mother. I thanked my father. I floated out of that house thinking, for once they see me. For once I'm the priority. I should have known better. By April 2024, James and I had toured 11 wedding venues. We were exhausted. Most places were booked solid or wildly overpriced, or just wrong. Then we found Barton Creek Resort and Spa. The Overlook Pavilion, outdoor, string lights, hill country views, capacity for 200 guests. I walked in and felt it. This was the place. "We'll take it," I told the coordinator, Jenna Morrison, a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and a leather planner. October 18th, 2025. Jenna smiled. "Perfect. That's 18 months out. You're smart to book early. Fall weddings here go fast." The deposit was $8,500, non-refundable. James and I split it from our savings. We signed the contract on April 3rd, 2024. I texted my parents a photo of the pavilion. My mother's response came within minutes. "Sweetheart, the venue is stunning. October 18th is perfect. Fall weather, beautiful photos. We can't wait to celebrate you." I saved that text. I didn't know why at the time. Maybe some part of me already sensed the storm coming. My sister Claire is 28, 3 years younger than me, but you'd think she was royalty the way my parents treat her. She's a lifestyle influencer, 156,000 followers on Instagram, at Claire Lux Life. She posts photos of Bali sunsets, European cafes, wellness retreats. The kind of content that makes you feel like your life is boring. She's never had a real job. My parents fund everything: rent, car, trips. They call it supporting her dreams. I call it enabling. Growing up, Claire got ballet lessons, piano lessons, art camp in Santa Fe. I got, Melissa, you're so responsible, you don't need help. When I graduated college with honors, my father said, "That's good, honey," and went back to watching football. When Claire posted her first Instagram reel that got 10,000 views, my parents threw a dinner party. I learned early. I wasn't the golden child. I was the reliable one, the one who'd be fine. At Thanksgiving 2019, right after my grandparents died, my father said something I've never forgotten. We were sitting around the table, and Claire was talking about her plans to become an influencer. My father looked at her with this light in his eyes. "Claire's going to do something big," he said. "She's got that spark." Then he looked at me. "Melissa, you're steady. Steady is good. You'll be fine." Fine. That word followed me for years. But I didn't need their approval anymore. I had James. I had a career I loved, program coordinator at a youth mentorship nonprofit. I had my own life, or so I thought. In June 2025, Claire posted an Instagram story that made my stomach drop, a video of her jumping on her bed, squealing. The caption: "Just booked the opportunity of a lifetime Bali. Here I come. Some things are just meant to be." I didn't think much of it. Claire was always going somewhere. Then, on July 15th, 2025, 3 months before my wedding, my mother texted me, "Call me," about the date. I was at work. I stepped outside into the Texas heat, phone pressed to my ear. "Hi, Mom, what's up?" Her voice was tight. "It's about your wedding date." "What about it?" "Claire booked a trip, a wellness retreat in Bali. It's a huge opportunity for her. She'll be networking with major brands, creating content. It's non-refundable." I felt my chest tighten. "Okay. When is it?" "October 12th through the 26th. Silence. "Mom, that's my wedding." "I know, sweetheart. That's why I'm calling." "Can you move it? Maybe November? Or even spring of next year?" I stared at the parking lot. A heat wave shimmered off the asphalt. "Mom, we booked the venue 18 months ago. We sent out save the dates to 200 people in May. The florist contract is signed. My dress is being altered. Everything is locked in." "I understand, but this is important for Claire. This trip cost $18,000, Melissa. If she cancels, that money is gone." $18,000 for a vacation. I'd saved for 5 years to afford my wedding. James and I had scraped together $52,000. Every dollar counted. And they wanted me to throw it all away for Claire's Instagram content. "No," I said. "I'm not changing the date." There was a pause. Then my mother's voice turned cold. "Melissa, this is about family. Claire's career is taking off. Your wedding can happen anytime." "We have a contract, Mom. We'd lose thousands of dollars. The venue—" "I'll call you back," she said, and hung up. I stood there in the heat, phone in my hand, and felt the first crack in my world. 2 days later, my father called. His voice wasn't warm this time. It was the voice he used at the dealership when a deal was going south. "Melissa, this is about family. Claire's career is important. This Bali trip, she's networking with major brands. Your wedding can happen anytime. You're being selfish." Selfish. That word hit like a slap. "Dad, we signed a contract. The venue—" "Money isn't the point, Melissa. Respect is." I wanted to scream, but I kept my voice steady. "We're not changing the date." He exhaled, sharp. "Then we have a problem." He hung up. I stood in my apartment, shaking. James came into the room, saw my face, and pulled me into his arms. "What did he say?" James asked. "He called me selfish." James held me tighter. You're not selfish, you're standing up for yourself. There's a difference. I wanted to believe him. But part of me, the part that had spent 31 years trying to earn my parents' approval, felt like maybe I was wrong. Maybe I should just move the date. Maybe I was tearing the family apart. That night, I couldn't sleep. On July 22nd, my parents demanded an in-person meeting. James and I drove to their house in Westlake Hills. The air conditioning was on full blast, but I felt sweat on my palms. Claire was there too, on speakerphone from Los Angeles where she was staying with a friend. I could hear cafe noise in the background. She wasn't even taking this seriously. My mother sat across from us, hands folded. My father stood by the window, arms crossed. "We've come up with a compromise," my mother said, her voice saccharine. "You move the wedding to May 2026. We'll help pay for the change fees. Everyone wins." I looked at James. He squeezed my hand under the table. "The change fees would be $12,000 to $15,000, I said. "Minimum, and we'd lose our date. We'd have to start over." My father turned from the window. "We're offering to help. What more do you want?" Claire's voice crackled through the speakerphone. "I mean, I already paid the deposit for Bali, so—" I felt something snap inside me. "No," I said. "The date stays." My father's face went hard. "Then we have a problem." The meeting ended 10 minutes later. As James and I walked to the car, my mother stood in the doorway crying. My father didn't even look at me. The next morning, I woke up to a text from my father. Timestamp, 6:52 a.m. "Since you've chosen this path, don't expect our financial support. You're on your own. Your mother is devastated. I hope you're proud of yourself. The $120,000 Grandma and Grandpa left? That was for a wedding that honored family. This doesn't qualify. You'll get nothing from us." I read it 3 times, then I showed James. "Can they do that?" I asked. "Legally?" James's jaw tightened. "I don't know, but we're going to find out." For 47 days, my parents didn't speak to me. I called my mother 6 times. Voicemail. I called my father 4 times, straight to voicemail. I sent texts. Read receipts, showed they'd seen them. No replies. On August 10th, I texted my mother. "Mom, can we talk? I miss you." Read at 2:17 p.m. No response. On August 24th. "I'd love you both at the wedding, please." Delivered. Not read. Meanwhile, Claire posted 34 Instagram posts about her Bali trip prep. My parents liked every single one. They commented, "So proud of you, sweetheart," and "You deserve this." They didn't acknowledge my wedding countdown posts, not once. James watched me spiral. He held me when I cried. He made me tea when I couldn't sleep. And he started doing something I didn't know about until much later. He started digging. On September 8th, my phone rang. My mother. My heart jumped. "Hello?" Static. Then her voice, cold. "We'll come to the wedding, but don't expect us to be happy about it." I sat down on the couch. "Mom, I just want— Your father and I have discussed this. We'll be there because family shows up. But we won't pretend this is okay. You chose your date over your sister's dreams. Actions have consequences." She paused. "We won't participate in photos until you apologize to Claire. And we're not contributing money. This is to teach you humility, Melissa." Humility. My father's word, now my mother's. I wanted to say, "You're punishing me for having boundaries." I wanted to say, "This isn't humility, it's control." But I just said, "Okay." She hung up. I sat there, phone in my hand, and felt emptier than I'd ever felt. 8 days before the wedding, October 10th, 2025, I received an email from Jenna Morrison, the venue coordinator. Subject line, "Urgent, conflicting instructions." I opened it. "Hi, Melissa. I hope you're doing well. I'm reaching out because I've received some conflicting communication regarding your October 18th event. I wanted to clarify with you directly before proceeding. See attached emails. Please let me know how you'd like me to handle this. Thanks, Jenna. Attached were 3 emails, all from my mother. Email 1, September 3rd, 2025. Hello, this is Diane Unzueta, mother of the bride. We need to discuss moving the October 18th event to 2026. What are our options? Please call me at your earliest convenience. Email 2, September 15th, 2025. Jenna, I understand there are penalties, but this is a family matter. Surely you can work with us. The bride is making a mistake, and we're trying to protect her. Please advise. Email 3, October 2nd, 2025. This wedding should not proceed on this date. I'm asking you, as the mother of the bride, to help us stop this mistake. Call me immediately. I felt my blood go cold. She tried to cancel my wedding, behind my back, 3 times. I forwarded the email to James, typed, "She tried to cancel our wedding." He called me immediately. "Melissa," he said, his voice low and controlled. "We need to talk. Tonight. I've been working on something." "What do you mean?" "I'll explain when I get home. But Melissa," he paused, "this is bigger than you think." That night, James came home with his laptop. He set it on the kitchen table and pulled up a chair for me. "I need you to trust me," he said. "I do." "Good, because I've spent the last 3 weeks digging into your family's finances." I blinked. "What?" "James is a financial analyst at Frost Bank. He has access to research tools most people don't, and he'd used them. Your grandparents' trust fund," he said, "the $120,000. I wanted to see if your parents could actually withhold it." "And?" He turned the laptop screen toward me. Bank statements, account ledgers, highlighted entries. In January 2025, the trust fund had a balance of $120,000, exactly what your grandparents left. I nodded. On July 18th, 2025, there was a withdrawal. $80,000. My stomach dropped. What? He clicked to the next page. Recipient, Claire R. Unzueta. Memo. Advance wedding distribution. I couldn't breathe. "Claire's not even engaged," I whispered. "I know." I stared at the screen. July 18th, 5 days before the family meeting. 5 days before they demanded I move my wedding date. They'd already stolen the money before they even asked. James pulled up another document. The trust paperwork from 2019, my grandparents' will. He read aloud. Wedding fund of $120,000 to be distributed to first grandchild upon marriage, to be used for wedding expenses, first home down payment, or marital establishment as beneficiary sees fit. He looked at me. "That's you, Melissa. Not Claire. You." "But they're the trustees," I said. "They control it. They're supposed to act in your best interest. This," he pointed at the screen, "this is breach of fiduciary duty. They gave $80,000 to someone who isn't even the beneficiary. That's illegal." I felt something shift inside me. Not sadness, not anger. Something colder. Clarity. "What do we do?" I asked. James opened another folder on his laptop. "We build a case, and then at the reception, we show everyone exactly what they did." I stared at him. "You want to expose them? At our wedding?" "They walked out on you. They tried to cancel your wedding. They stole your inheritance. Melissa," his voice cracked, "they humiliated you in front of 200 people. They deserve to know the truth." I thought about my grandparents. I thought about the trust fund they'd left. Not for my parents to control, but for me to build a life. "Okay," I said. "Let's do it." Over the next week, James compiled everything. Bank statements showing the $80,000 transfer to Claire, the trust documents with the beneficiary clause highlighted, my mother's venue sabotage emails, text messages from my parents. "You'll get nothing from us. This is to teach you humility." Screenshots of Claire's Instagram posts, including one from July 20th, just 2 days after she received the money, showing her booking first-class tickets to Bali. Caption: Treating myself because I deserve it. James created a PowerPoint presentation. 22 slides. Title slide: The Price of Humility, What the Unzueta Family Doesn't Want You to Know. This will destroy them, I said. James looked at me. They destroyed your wedding first. On October 17th, the night before the wedding, James asked, Last chance to back out. We can just get married and move on. I thought about my grandmother. I thought about the trust fund she'd left with my name on it. I thought about the words my father had used: humility, consequences, family. We show them everything, I said. Then James found one more thing. At 11 p.m., he called me into the living room. His laptop was open, another bank transfer on the screen. Look at this, he said. September 10th, 2025. 3 days after my mother called to say they'd attend the wedding but not be happy. Transfer amount, $15,500. Memo: C. Unzueta, Bali Extension Package plus Excursions. Source account: my father's personal Chase account. I laughed. It came out broken, almost hysterical. They paid for her trip, I said. After punishing me. After saying they had no money, they paid $15,000 for Claire's vacation. James put his arm around me. Tomorrow everyone knows. October 18th, 2025. I woke up at 6:15 a.m. in the bridal suite at Barton Creek Resort. My heart was pounding before I even opened my eyes. Hair appointment at 8, ceremony at 4, reception at 7, and somewhere in between my parents would arrive, or they wouldn't. I checked my phone. No messages. At Bang Salon on Congress Avenue, my bridesmaids tried to keep the mood light. Jess, my maid of honor, brought mimosas. James's sister told terrible jokes, but I couldn't focus. At 9:47 a.m., Claire posted an Instagram story. A video of herself on a beach in Positano, Italy. Apparently, she'd extended her Bali trip into a full European tour. The caption: Sometimes you have to choose, you #living my truth, #no regrets. Jess saw my face. Don't look at her page. Too late. But honestly, it made what we were about to do easier. At 2 p.m., I was back in the bridal suite, staring at my dress. Ivory A-line, lace sleeves, $3,200. I'd paid for it myself. My mother was supposed to help me into it. Instead, Jess zipped me up. I put on my grandmother's pearl necklace, the one from her estate. It felt heavy against my collarbone. I looked at myself in the mirror. Grandma would be proud, I whispered. Jess hugged me. Your mom is missing this. That's on her. At 2:33 p.m., my phone buzzed. Text from my mother. We'll be there, but don't expect smiles. I turned my phone off. At 3:45 p.m., there was a knock on the door. Uncle Tom, my father's younger brother, 58 years old, owns an HVAC company, the kind of guy who shows up when you need him. 2 days earlier, I'd called him and asked if he'd walk me down the aisle. My father had refused. Uncle Tom said yes immediately. Your father is making a mistake, Melissa. I'd be honored. Now he stood in the doorway in his suit, eyes a little red. Ready, kiddo? He asked. I took his arm. Through the window, I could see guests arriving, including my parents. Back row, far left, away from everyone. 2 empty seats in the front row where they should have been. At 4 p.m., the ceremony began. The Overlook Pavilion was perfect. String lights, hill country views. 200 white chairs arranged in rows. 178 people actually showed up. Some distant relatives had already heard about the drama and stayed home. Pachelbel's canon played. My bridesmaids walked down the aisle. The flower girl, James's 6-year-old niece, scattered petals. Then it was my turn. Uncle Tom and I walked. I didn't look at the back row. I kept my eyes on James. He stood at the altar in his gray suit, and when our eyes met, he mouthed, "You've got this." Pastor Mike, our officiant, smiled. "Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today." The ceremony proceeded. A reading from Corinthians, a prayer. Then Pastor Mike said the words every officiant says. "If anyone has objections to this union, speak now or forever hold your peace." Silence. Then movement. Back row. My father stood up. Gasps rippled through the crowd. Pastor Mike blinked. "Sir, this isn't—" My father's voice cut through the air, loud enough for everyone to hear. "Melissa, your mother and I are leaving. Think about what you've done to this family. We won't be part of this mistake." My mother stood beside him, sobbing, theatrical, loud. They walked down the center aisle. Mom's heels clicked against the stone, Dad's hand on her back, guiding her. 50 people from the Unzueta side of the family sat frozen, mouths open, some crying. No one breathed. The silence lasted 45 seconds. It felt like 45 years. Then Uncle Tom, still holding my arm, leaned close and whispered, "Keep going, honey." I looked at Pastor Mike. My voice came out steady. "Continue, please." Pastor Mike nodded, cleared his throat, and continued. "Love is patient. Love is kind." We exchanged vows. James held my hands. His voice was steady, but when he got to the end, he improvised. "Melissa, your strength humbles me. Today, in front of everyone here, I promise I will always stand up for you. Always, no matter who's watching." I felt tears sting my eyes. We exchanged rings. Pastor Mike smiled. "I now pronounce you husband and wife." We kissed. The crowd applauded, some of them crying, some still in shock. As we walked back down the aisle, I saw Aunt Rachel, my father's older sister. She was sobbing. She mouthed, "I'm so sorry." I smiled at her. Because in 4 hours, sorry wouldn't be necessary. Justice would be. Cocktail hour, 4:30 to 5:30 p.m. The terrace overlooked the hill country. Sunset was starting to bleed across the sky. People sipped wine, ate appetizers, and whispered, "What happened? Are they coming back? I can't believe they just left." I said the same thing to everyone who asked. They made their choice. James circulated through the crowd, calm and composed, but I saw him check his watch. 7 p.m., dinner. 8:15 p.m., toasts. That's when. At 5:45, the photographer asked for family photos. "Just James's side," I said. She looked confused. "What about—" "Just his side." James adjusted his tie, game face on. At 6:30 p.m., we entered the grand ballroom. The transformation was stunning. String lights crisscrossed the ceiling. Eucalyptus garlands draped the tables. 20 round tables, each seating 10. The DJ announced us. "Ladies and gentlemen, for the first time ever, Mr. and Mrs. James Peterson." Cheers, applause. We danced to "Thinking Out Loud" by Ed Sheeran. For 3 minutes and 40 seconds, it felt almost normal, except for table 3, front left, parents' table, 2 empty chairs, name cards still in place. Lawrence Unzueta, Diane Unzueta. Everyone saw it. Dinner was served at 7 p.m. Filet mignon or Chilean sea bass. Salad, main course, dessert, tiramisu. I couldn't eat. James couldn't either. We were waiting. At 8:10 p.m., James excused himself. "Restroom," he said. He went to the DJ booth, set up his laptop, connected it to the projection screen, the one we'd rented for a photo slideshow. He loaded the PowerPoint, came back to our table, squeezed my hand. "Last chance. Do it." At 8:15 p.m., the toasts began. Cole, the best man, told funny stories about James. 6 minutes of laughter. Jess, my maid of honor, told sweet stories about our friendship. 5 minutes of tears. Then the DJ said, "And now, a special message from the groom." James stood, took the microphone. The room quieted. He looked at me. I nodded. He turned to face the room. 165 people. "Thank you all for being here tonight," he said. especially those who stayed after the interruption earlier. A few nervous laughs. I'm not usually one for public speaking, James continued, but today something happened that I can't ignore, and neither should you. He clicked a button. The projection screen lit up behind him. Title slide, white text on black. The price of humility. People leaned forward. James's voice was steady, calm, deadly. Melissa's father told her she needed to learn humility. Her mother said this wedding would teach her consequences. Well, let me show you what humility actually costs, and who's been paying it. Click. Slide 2. A photo. Black and white. 1956. My grandparents on their wedding day. This is where the story starts, James said. Slides 3 through 6 showed the trust documents, excerpts from my grandparents' will. The language was highlighted in yellow. Wedding fund of $120,000 to be distributed to first grandchild upon marriage. James read it aloud slowly. In 2019, Melissa's grandparents passed away. They left a trust fund, $120,000, specifically for their first grandchild's wedding. That's Melissa. He paused. Not her sister Claire. Melissa. The room was silent. Here's what her parents did with it. Click. Slide 7. A bank statement. July 18, 2025. Transfer amount, $80,000. Recipient, Claire R. Unzueta. Memo. Advance wedding distribution. Gasps. People whispered. Heads turned. James let it sit for 5 seconds, then continued. $80,000, given to Claire, who isn't even engaged, 2 months before Melissa's wedding, while her parents told Melissa she'd get nothing. Click. Slides 8 through 11. Instagram screenshots. Claire's posts. Bali. First-class flights. Luxury resorts. The caption from July 20. Treating myself because I deserve it. Then another post. October 12th. Bali again. The dates overlapping with my wedding. Then today's post. Positano, Italy. Sometimes you have to choose you. James's voice was colder now. Lawrence and Diane Unzueta told Melissa she was selfish for not moving her wedding, a wedding she'd booked 18 months in advance, for Claire's vacation. A vacation they then paid $15,000 to extend. Click. Slide 12. Another bank transfer. September 10, 2025. Amount, $15,500. Memo. C. Unzueta. Bali extension package. After punishing Melissa, James said, after claiming they had no money, they spent $15,000 on Claire's Instagram content. Aunt Rachel stood up. Her hand covered her mouth. She whispered something I couldn't hear. 3 people at her table started crying. James moved to slides 13 through 15. My mother's emails to the venue coordinator. He read them aloud, every word. This wedding should not proceed on this date. I'm asking you to help us stop this mistake. Sent October 2nd, 16 days before the wedding. By my own mother. People gasped. Someone said, "Oh my God." Uncle Tom stood up, looked at the empty chair where his brother should have been, said, loud enough for everyone to hear, "Lawrence, you son of a bitch," then sat back down. James continued, slides 16 through 18. This morning's text from my mother, screenshot on the screen. We'll be there, but don't expect smiles. Then a video clip, 10 seconds, from the ceremony. My father standing, his voice. Melissa, we're leaving. Think about what you've done to this family. Audio crystal clear, a freeze frame. My mother's face, sobbing theatrically. James let it play twice. And then, today, in front of 200 people. Lawrence Unzueta stood up during his daughter's wedding ceremony and said this, he pointed to the screen, before walking out, because Melissa wouldn't change her date, for a vacation that he paid for. with her inheritance money. The silence was so complete I could hear my own heartbeat. Slides 19 through 21. The financial breakdown. Wedding costs. $52,000 total. Itemized. Venue $18,500. Catering $16,000. Photography $5,800. Flowers $3,200. Dress $3,200. Everything else adding up to the rest. Paid by Melissa's savings, $22,000. James's savings plus inheritance from his grandmother, $30,000. Parents' contribution, $0. James's voice was quiet now, almost a whisper, but the microphone carried it. Melissa is a nonprofit program coordinator. I'm a financial analyst. We saved for 5 years. I used money my grandmother left me when she passed last year. Melissa's parents, who own 3 car dealerships and have a net worth of $4.5 million, contributed nothing. He paused. Correction. They contributed negative $80,000. They took from her. Click. Slide 22. Final slide. White text on black. Melissa didn't learn humility today. She learned who her family really is. James put down the microphone, walked to me, held out his hand. I stood. He addressed the room one last time. If anyone wants copies of these documents, for legal purposes or otherwise, I have 3 folders here. Come see me after. He set 3 manila folders on the table. Then he sat down beside me. The room was silent. 5 seconds. 10. Then Aunt Rachel stood. She started clapping, slow at first, then faster. Uncle Tom stood, clapping, then James's parents, then table by table. 165 people stood and clapped, not for us, for truth. The ovation lasted 90 seconds. After the ovation ended, chaos. 15 people grabbed their coats and left. Distant Unzueta cousins, a few of my father's golf buddies, people who couldn't handle what they'd just seen. Aunt Rachel came to me, mascara running. I didn't know, she said, sobbing. I swear to God, Melissa, I didn't know. Uncle Tom hugged James. You did the right thing, son. My cousin Jennifer, my father's niece, stormed outside, phone pressed to her ear. Through the window, I watched her pacing, gesturing wildly. She was screaming at someone, probably my father. My phone, silenced on the table, lit up like a Christmas tree. 37 text notifications. James's phone, 28. He powered it off. Not tonight, he said. Tonight we dance. The DJ, after an awkward pause, said, okay. Let's keep this celebration going. He played Uptown Funk. The dance floor exploded. People needed release. The energy was wild. Laughter louder, dancing harder. It became genuinely the best party I've ever been to. At 9:45 p.m., Cole grabbed the microphone for an impromptu second toast. To James for having balls, and to Melissa for having a spine, and to all of us for witnessing the most legendary wedding toast in history. Cheers! The room erupted. At 11:42 p.m., the last guests were leaving. Aunt Rachel hugged me one more time. Your grandmother would be so proud, she said. Not of the money, of you. That's when I finally cried. Happy tears. At midnight, we were back in the bridal suite. James turned his phone back on. 4 voicemails. 1 from Uncle Tom. James, call me tomorrow. I need copies of those documents. 3 from unknown numbers. He played the third one on speaker. A woman's voice. This is Amanda Chen from KVUE News. We received a tip about an incident at a wedding tonight involving Lawrence Unzueta of Unzueta Auto Group. Can you confirm and provide comment? I looked at James. It's spreading already. He pulled me close. Good. Let it spread. Let everyone know what they did. Sunday morning, October 19th, 9 a.m. I woke up to my phone buzzing non-stop. 3 of James's cousins had posted about the speech on Facebook. It was spreading. One post had 2,300 shares by noon. The comments were brutal. This is insane. Sue them. Boycott Unzueta dealerships. Someone had started a hashtag justice for Melissa. Then my phone rang. Unknown number. Austin area code. I answered. Hello? Melissa? This is attorney David Brennan. I specialize in trust litigation. I saw what happened last night. I'd like to represent you. Pro bono. Tuesday, October 21st. James and I met David Brennan in his office downtown. 7th floor, glass windows overlooking the city. He was 55, silver hair, sharp suit. He'd been practicing estate law for 25 years. He reviewed everything. Trust documents, bank statements, emails, text messages, 90 minutes. Then he looked up. You have an airtight case, he said. For what? I asked. Breach of fiduciary duty. Your parents, as trustees, violated their legal obligation to act in your best interest. That $80,000 distribution to Claire? Illegal. You're entitled to full restoration of trust funds plus punitive damages. He did some quick math on a legal pad. I'd estimate a settlement of $193,000, $120,000 original trust, $55,000 in punitive damages, $18,000 in legal fees. I felt dizzy. How long? If they settle, 2 weeks. If they fight, he smiled grimly, 6 months. But they'll settle. The publicity alone will force them. Thursday, October 23rd. Day 5 post-wedding. David filed the lawsuit in Travis County District Court. Complaint: breach of fiduciary duty, conversion, unjust enrichment. Demand: $193,000. Case number: D-1-GN-25-004-932. The papers were served to my parents on Friday, October 24th. At 3:15 p.m., I got a text from Uncle Tom. Your father just called me. He's furious. Says you're destroying the family name. I told him, you destroyed it when you walked out on your daughter. He hung up on me. Saturday, October 25th. I Googled Unzueta Auto Group. 47 new 1-star reviews. Sample: owner steals from his own daughter. Would you trust him with your money? Another: family values? More like family lies. Never buying here. The reviews kept coming. By Monday, October 27th, the Austin American-Statesman had picked up the story. Headline: local dealership owner sued by daughter over wedding fund. KVUE ran a 2-minute segment. They interviewed Uncle Tom. On camera, he said, my brother made a terrible mistake. He let pride and favoritism destroy his relationship with his daughter. And now, he's facing consequences, legal and social, as he should. According to Uncle Tom's inside sources, sales at the dealerships dropped 35% that week. Tuesday, October 29th. David called. They want to mediate. Their lawyer contacted me this morning. They're ready to settle. I felt nothing. No victory, just tired. Okay, I said. Let's finish this. November 5th. 2 weeks post-wedding. Mediation took place in a neutral office building. A retired judge acted as mediator. My parents' lawyer was defensive, aggressive. David was calm, methodical. He had everything documented. 4 hours, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. My parents never entered the room where I sat. We stayed in separate rooms the entire time. The mediator shuttled back and forth. Finally, an offer. $193,000. Full amount. The mediator came into my room. They have one request: no press conferences, no further social media. You take the money, they take the lesson, everyone moves on. David looked at me. I thought for a moment. Add one more term. Written apology. Signed. Acknowledging what they did. 30-minute wait. The mediator returned. They agree. Apology will be drafted tomorrow. Funds transferred within 5 business days. I stood up. James held my hand. We walked out. Done. Friday, November 8th. The apology arrived by certified mail. 1 page, typed, signed by both. We, Lawrence and Diane Unzueta, Acknowledge that we allowed favoritism and pride to guide our actions regarding Melissa's wedding and the trust fund established by our parents. We violated the trust they placed in us as fiduciaries. We failed Melissa as parents. We are deeply sorry. I read it once, felt nothing. James asked, "Is it enough?" "It's words," I said. "The $193,000 is justice. This is just paper." I filed it in a drawer. Never responded. Tuesday, November 12th. The money hit our account. Wire transfer. Memo. Settlement. Unzueta versus Unzueta. Balance. $193,000. I stared at the screen for a long time. Then I started looking at houses. 6 months later. April 2026. James and I bought our first home. 3-bedroom, 2-bath. Buda, Texas. Purchase price, $385,000. Down payment, $55,000 from the settlement. The rest? We got a mortgage like normal people. I was 12 weeks pregnant. We hadn't spoken to my parents since the mediation. No calls, no texts, complete silence. Claire's Instagram followers had dropped to 91,000. She'd lost 65,000 followers. Several brands had dropped her when the story went viral. She posted less frequently now. The captions were different, less confident. Easter Sunday, April 20th. Aunt Rachel invited us to dinner. Uncle Tom was there, James's parents, a few cousins. Over dessert, Aunt Rachel said quietly, "Your father asks about you, through your uncle. He wants to meet the baby when it comes." I set down my fork. "Maybe, if he earns it. Actions, not words." Uncle Tom nodded. "That's fair." That night, James and I sat in the nursery we were painting. Soft yellow walls, a crib we'd assembled together. He was reading through trust documents, new ones, the ones we were creating for our child. "What should we put in our will?" he asked. "For this kid?" I thought about my grandparents, about the trust fund they'd left, about how it had been weaponized against me. I smiled. "How about, use this to build a life that makes you happy, not us, you." James kissed me. Perfect. If you're listening to this and your family is using money to control you, using humility to silence you, using guilt to manipulate you, document everything. Know your legal rights. Get a lawyer if you need one. And remember, sometimes the family you build is stronger than the family you're born into. You're not alone. We're still in that house, still painting the nursery. My parents sent a gift last week. I returned it. Maybe someday there will be reconciliation. Maybe not. But I learned something that day at the Overlook Pavilion, with 165 people watching and 2 empty chairs in the front row. Some families are born, some are built. Ours? We built it on a foundation of truth, and that's stronger than any trust fund.